Again, we are back for this second installment, second half of the Sports Rap Podcast right here on Heat 100 Radio. You know where to get back to. Facebook, Sports Rap Podcast LLC is the group page. Also, let's see here. Oh, Instagram at Sports Rap _D. I'm just messing with y'all. Y'all know where to be. Shout outs to everybody that came back. Mr. Levert 216, thanks for you jumping right back in so quick. I'm going to give all of y'all a shout out at the end. Probably do another video, separate video at the end once I give everybody a shout out for support, because I definitely appreciate the support and all you guys tuning in and all your comments. And like I said, once again, if you are just tuning in on Instagram, I can get you good. Instagram, I see all your comments live and ready right there in front of me. On Facebook, when you comment, as you saw my guy Richard Drummond doing, and I'll be waiting for him to come back if he's not back already. Please, when you comment on Facebook in the group page, Sports Rap Podcast LLC, please let me know who you are and, in your comment. You can either put it at the beginning or at the end, so I can acknowledge you like I always do and like I like to do. So, we're going to get back into some more of this NFL talk, some more NFL talk, man. And like I said, I told you how I feel about the Eagles against the 49ers. And, there's going to be a lot of talk. There's going to be a lot of chatter, of course. I know quite a few 49ers fans. Like I said, my partners, my co-host, 49ers fans. Another good friend, too, Ray, the comedian. He's a 49ers fan. A couple other people I know, some other people I know are 49ers fans, but that's nonetheless. So, we're going to do what we do as fans, and I'm going to do what I do here. But again, like I said, I just mentioned to you, my guy, Mighty, must be done with the gym where you sneaking in. So glad you can tune in, though, anyway, as well. It's going to be fun. Like I said, it's going to be fun. We got a week into it. It's going to be fun. So we'll see what happens. But getting back to cool. So now you missed the Eagles talk, so you're going to have to go back and watch that. But here we go. Let's get back to this 49ers Cowboys game yesterday. Like I said, I told you what I saw in the 49ers and some things I saw, like we like to say, some kinks in the armor that I think could work for the Eagles. All right, I'm gonna be the proper show host right now since I'm on here. I'm gonna be the proper show host. I saw some things that I feel like the Eagles can take advantage of that will help them in getting the win. Although overall, I still feel like the Eagles can get the win anyway. I just feel like we are the team that's between the two. We are the team that's tougher to scheme for. And the reason I say that, because when you look at the 49ers, you consider they're tough to scheme for because of their coaches and the designs of their plays and for specific players. With the Eagles, it's tough because same positions, we've got a little bit more there. So I think the Eagles' starting wide receiver duo is better than the 49ers' starting receiver duo. The tight end matchup, I don't know how to gauge the tight end matchup. If you will, for sakes of argument and debate purposes, I'm going to go with the tight ends canceling each other out. Okay, I'm going to go there. Just play devil's advocate and let the tight ends cancel each other out. Our quarterback, yeah. We do have a backup that could play if we really, really need to, but hopefully, more than likely, we won't need him to. I don't know what the situation is on the other side because they're at their third quarterback right now, so I don't know what their situation is after Brock Purdy. On the running back side of the ball, we've got a three-headed monster, actually a four-headed monster, because our quarterback can also be considered a running back at times. And on the defensive side of the ball, I think our corners are better. Where we are right now, I can give San Fran the advantage at one safety spot with Hufanga because we have injuries and we now have our best safety playing the slot corner. So I can give the 49ers the advantage there. But I still think we can win. But getting back to that game yesterday, and where I'm going is where everybody's talking this morning. I've been on the brick. I was scrolling through some stuff, and I saw everybody. Stephen A. I'm gonna have to go back and check out what he did, and I know he had a magnificently fun time talking about this game this morning. So I have to check his stuff, and maybe I'll check what he did. Maybe I'll give some commentary on my own on what he did later on in the day or whatever. But Cowboys, they did it to their fans again. I mean, I've seen social media going crazy. I've seen people crash, breaking TVs. So there's one gentleman carry his TV outside of the house, slam it on the ground, proceed to get in his truck and run over the TV several times. Then he's like, Jerry Jones owes me a new TV. I don't understand. It happens. It's been happening since 96. So I guess you can arguably say last year's playoff win was fool's gold. This year's one playoff win was also fool's gold. Dak Prescott, like Amani Cooper allegedly said that he was the black Kirk Cousins. Interceptions yesterday. 2 interceptions. So you had that issue with the kicker. A couple times he came through for it. This is why this score was so low. It's 19-12. Like, the defense is played. But this just shows you some of the things I said that I saw about the 49ers. Took him a minute to get going, but when you got that pressure on Brock, he looked a little rattled. I'm not saying I said what I see. He looked a little rattled. On the other side, Dallas couldn't get it together on offense. So we saw some struggles on both sides on offense for both teams. Okay? But like I mentioned, when you look at the two quarterbacks and you look at their situations, Brock Purdy, we all know, Mr. Irrelevant. He has written a hell of a story for himself this season. From when he started playing until now. He's written a hell of a story. And he may not be done yet. I mean, I think he'll be done come Sunday. But he's written a hell of a story for himself, if you will. You expected, like I mentioned earlier, you expected from what you saw him throughout the season when he had to play first playoff game, whatever, you were actually looking, and I know I was, and a lot of people, a lot of mainstream media were too. You were looking, and in the back of your head, on the back burner, you had that he's been playing very well. One of those games is coming. And it might not be a complete game, it might be a half. But one of those games is coming. And early in that game yesterday, when Dallas got pressure on him, you could have arguably said yesterday was that game. Turns out that yesterday wasn't that game because that defense got worn down. And at some point, you know, they lost what they had. And again, San Fran found a rhythm, and they got to doing what they do. And, of course, they picked up on it. And everything is everything. But what I wanted to say, though, was, just give me 1 second. Let me grab something. I wanted to say that for the Dallas Cowboys fans, you folks have got to stop doing it to yourself. You guys take this thing way, way too serious sometimes. And I understand where you are. I understand what you do and how you do what you do. But one of the things you have to take into consideration, you have to realize that now I'm sure you see it, that Mr. Prescott is not that guy that's going to get y'all where y'all want to go. You might want to start thinking about moving on. I got a comment from Mr. Levert, 216. He says he feels the Eagles got to play great zone against the 49ers. Plus the end cannot over pursue and stay outside for containment. Plus the linebackers have to play great man against their own run RBs. Yeah, And I mean, Hassan Reddick has to be Hassan Reddick and be all over the place like a madman, like he has been. But getting back to this Dallas thing, like they've done it to y'all the past several years. I mean, I can easily go and say it's been this number of years, but it's been quite a few years. And you get your hopes up, and it's kind of like some of the things that people used to always say about the Eagles. Oh, they're going to get y'all hopes up, and y'all going to have a great season, and y'all going to get blown out in the playoffs. All right. It is what it is. And I mean, and we take that in stride as the Eagles fans that we are. We take it for what it's worth, and we going to still talk our smack and do what we do and get to it and how we get to it. So, like they saying, it's a Philly thing, and this is where we are now. Right back in the NFC Championship. But, with the Cowboys situation, they lost Tony Pollard, which hurt. Yeah, their team has not been good since Emmitt Smith. Yeah. They all, in a lot of ways, some, not a lot, but in some ways, Jerry Jones kind of reminds me, in his Dallas organization, the way he runs things, kind of reminds me a little bit of how folk used to talk about the Yankees back in the day, when they were like, Steinbrenner's just going to buy the players he needs to win and keep winning. And you can kind of have a debate, and you can talk about it like that with the Cowboys situation, where, when they brought in Amari Cooper, and then that didn't end well. And then, you look, they brought in, this season they brought in T.Y. Hilton. And, like, what was going on with T.Y. Hilton? Like, he made, I think, one catch yesterday, and then you didn't hear his name at all. So, with the coaching availabilities that are out there, Sean Payton being the number one on that list, the situation with the Cowboys now, again, in my opinion, I think you need to think about preparing yourself to move on from Dak Prescott. You will arguably lose your defensive coordinator to a head coaching job, so you'll have to replace that. You will arguably, and this is just based on how Jerry Jones has reacted over the past several years and things of that nature. Yeah, the kicker's done. Of course, yeah, thanks, Mr. LeVert. Yeah, the kicker's done. He should have been done. I think there may come up an issue with the head coach, Mike McCarthy. But again, being as though Sean Payton's out there and some other names are out there. So some things will change in Dallas. Like I said, that the way that situation, like I said, I think they're to the point where they have to begin to grasp on the fact that they may want to try to move on from Dak Prescott. It is what it is. It just is what it is. On staying with the same note and somewhat topic, you look at the 49ers, same situation there. Some things could possibly change as far as on the defensive side of the ball. D'Amico Ryans, like I mentioned earlier, set the interview with like 4 teams. Well deserving, if you will, because he's done great things with that defense. So arguably, possibly, some things could change there. The Chiefs, I don't know what the situation is with Eric Bieniemy where he can't get a job, but they look like they may maintain. Them and the Bengals look like they may maintain the most stable as far as coaching staffs and like somewhat immediate changes right after the season. On the Eagles side of the ball, possibilities of Jonathan Gannon being pegged for somewhere else. And now with whatever the way the season plays out, maybe some possibilities with Steichen also. But I don't know how that's going to play out. I mean, I kind of think, nobody wants to live big, but yeah, that's absolutely right. I think with the Eagles situation, like I said, there's talk. I think it would definitely have to be the right situation for either one of those guys to leave. And like I said, I haven't heard a lot about Steichen, but I've definitely heard the name Jonathan Gannon come up a couple times. I think it's going to be, I think for them it would come down to a right situation. And depends on if they win it this year. If they win the Super Bowl this year, that could arguably change things as well. You know, other than possibly if they don't win it, it could be just the right situation to take this opportunity, because I don't know. Like I always say about that thing with that head coaching thing, it's like, listen, sometimes you got to take it because arguably you don't know if or when it's going to happen again. So some situations you got to take it, and then some situations you just don't because you don't feel it's the right thing. And again, you still look in the mirror, and then you think in the back of your head that same situation. You know, and that's a tough decision because, like I said, you got both sides of that fence. You got that side of the fence is, look, is it the right situation? Will I be able to do what I do? Will I be able to have what I need to succeed? And then you also look at that situation and it's like, you take it because, like I said, I don't know if or when I may get this opportunity again. So you guys have flipped the coin. So with that situation, you'll see, and you can tend to see how it plays out. Mr. Levert says, I wish the Eagles keep that team together and just add additional talent, just like the Patriots did in the Super Bowl run. Yeah, you know, and I think that's what's going to happen because they've already begun to draft and bring in players that can replace some of our elder statesmen on that offensive line, and they've been learning from these guys. So the trend could very easily or very arguably continue with the mean and nasty front five and them being tops in the league, if not the top in the league. So that can continue. But, you know, now you make it a point where you sign CJ, you re-sign CJ. Now you got to make it a point where you got to do something with Bradbury. And I'm sure if everything is right, he'll be happy to come back, especially if they win. And, you know, you run it back with this team. And then, I mean, and you forget, like, the Eagles still have a fairly high first-round draft pick as well. So they can get even better than what they are right now with the right moves. And again, we got candidate for Executive of the Year, so we know it can be done. But we'll see what happens. But again, that Dallas thing, it's real funny how they get in that situation. So moving on to, let's talk a little Bengals Chiefs. Let's see. The key is not let the top executives to break them up, just like Joe Banner and Tom Hackett did when the year. Yeah, absolutely. Talk a little Bengals Bills. Everybody in the world, including me, picked the Bills to win because they were home. I picked them because they were home, and I knew it was going to snow, it'd be a blizzard. Typical Buffalo weather. Not the case. Also, I picked Buffalo to win on the spirit of DeMar Hamlin, especially after that game, first game they played in the playoffs after his incident. Cincinnati went in there and took that game. They did exactly what you want out of your team going into that situation, knowing that more than likely they're not going to give us this game. We're going to have to go and take it. And they did it from the very start. They were very physical with Buffalo, and the offense was clicking the way it was clicking. Buffalo, so Cincinnati could arguably be a team to watch out for in this playoff run if they can get past the Chiefs. So you look at the Chiefs on the other side of that, and you see, Patrick Mahomes' high ankle sprain. He's going to play. And I'm not questioning that, whatever, he's going to play. But you also saw in that game yesterday when he came out, like I said, Chad Henne, veteran, 98-yard drive, drove down for a touchdown. So again, they know what they have. So if they need to, they can go to it and win. Tough environment. I don't know if they can go back and beat them, but they certainly have an advantage. Like I said, with a slightly gimpy Patrick Mahomes, you have a slight advantage there in that, right? So, folks, that's it. NFL championships are set. Coming this Sunday, 3 p.m., 49ers in South Philly at the Philadelphia Eagles. And then at 6:30, the Cincinnati Bengals go into Arrowhead to face off against the Chiefs. I'm going to move into some Sixers, some NBA talk in a minute to close us out and take us out for the day. So again, great dialogue with everybody here from the Eagles standpoint and everything else. And I appreciate everybody that chimed in and had their input. Before we move on to our basketball segment, I just want to give a quick shout out. Temple U, T for Temple U University. Fight, fight, fight for the cherry and the white. For the cherry and the white, you fight. Shout out to my guys down there, Temple U men's basketball. Assistant coach Monte Ross, good friend of mine, classmate from high school, known him for a long time. Also another good guy that I've been associated with since I've been doing the podcast, Mark Macon. Shout out to you guys on winning was it yesterday or I think it was yesterday, whatever it was, over the weekend. Shout out to them for defeating number 1 ranked Houston. Shout out to Temple for that. Let me do what I do. Got to give them some applause for that. Definitely. So there's that. So with that being said, we move in, and I want to get to some basketball stuff. Like I said, I'm doing the Eagles gear today because it is what it is. We're coming off the win over the weekend, so I want to keep it going. But we definitely have some Sixers talk to talk. They just wrapped up a Western swing where they went 5-0 on this Western swing. I think this is one of the best Western swings the Sixers have had in a long time. It was good to see the wins. I'm going to run through these games for you. We're going back to January the 14th. It was a 1-point win against the Jazz, 118-117. Back-to-back nights, you get the Lakers, you out-edge them out, and another 1-point win. All right? Completing the sweep of the Lakers for the season. 2 days later, we still in L.A. We face off against the Clippers. 120-111, another win, sweeping the Clippers season series as well. Move on to the Blazers on the 19th. Take that game, 105-95. And then finally the Kings, who had us early in that game, minus Joel Embiid and James Harden. They had us. But it shows you what I've been telling you all about the people that were playing when James and Maxey were hurt. These guys got that playing time, so they know what to do. They know where their roles are definitively now. We come back and we beat the Kings by 2. Hence, a 5-game road trip. 5 wins on that trip. Sixers are actually 8-2 in their last 10. Okay. Moved up to second in the East, second in the conference, and second in the division with a 30-16 record. Cuzzo Rod G, all the way from Houston on the gram. Thanks for tuning in, Cuzzo. Appreciate you. Sixers, again, second in the East and in the Atlantic Division, moving up above the Knicks. I think they're like four and a half games out. I think they're a game and a half ahead of the Bucks and 2 games up on the Brooklyn Nets. Overall team stats, 15th in points per game. Got to work on this if we're going to make a deep run in the playoffs. Rebounds per game are 28th right now. 15th in assists and 3rd in opponents' points per game. They're giving up 110 points a game. And like I said, they're averaging 114. So those are wins, if you will. Of course, leading the team in scoring, Joel Embiid, 33.6. James Harden averaging a double-double, 21.5 points, 11.2 assists. The pick and roll with Joel Embiid and James Harden is becoming a thing of beauty. It's becoming something that is very difficult for teams to deal with, very difficult for them to stop. And I feel like it can only get better as the season goes on, which is going to be great going into the playoffs. Again, like I said, when I just gave you the stats, I do feel like we need to pick up our team rebounding. Overall team rebounding needs to be picked up, but I think it will come up. I think right now, and just to add this in there, there hasn't been a lot more of the talk about firing Doc now since we've been winning. But nonetheless, I'm just here doing what I do. I think the coaching staff has finally, well, I won't say finally, I think they're getting very, very close to figuring out the rotations that will be the most successful for this team moving forward. They moved Tyrese Maxey right now to coming off of the bench, which I don't think is a bad thing. I was talking to a friend this morning before I came on air, and we talked about that a little bit. And one of the things I mentioned about that situation was that he can be on that second unit, and he can be the focal scorer. And then he can also handle the ball. So you can play him with Shake. You can play him with the Anthony Melton, if you will. But he can look to do what he does and score the ball. I said, and this is no discredit to him, because I'm basically going to tell you he did what he's supposed to do. When I tell you what I'm getting ready to say, he did what he was supposed to do. He just by chance kind of fell into the starting role when we went through the situation with Ben Simmons, because arguably, if Ben Simmons wasn't being Ben Simmons off the court, he would have arguably have been the starter. Tyrese would have been coming off the bench. But again, he was the next best thing at that position, arguably. So he got that position. He got that chance. And he did, again, like I said, he did what he was supposed to do. He took full advantage of it and he remained the starter. And he's a very mature, humbled young man. He is just here to win, to grow and win. His maturity level is beyond his actual years as far as the number of years of his age. His maturity level is well beyond that, and I applaud him and applaud his parents for that. But the Sixers are doing things now where you feel like some things are starting to come together. You can feel like you're starting to see some of the things that you thought you would see coming into this season, having James Harden here for a full training camp and whatnot. It was unfortunately there was a small glitch when he got injured, which slowed down the pace of his cohesion with Joel, but it's picking up and it's growing very, very rapidly. You also, like I said about the Nets, people talk about the Nets, and we can argue days on end about this trade and who won this trade. But again, like I said several times, the same thing happens every year, and they're going through it right now. KD's hurt again. And it's somewhat early, like we're just about halfway through the season. We're approaching February, trade deadline coming up soon or whatever. We don't know what's going to happen, when he'll be back and whatnot, yada, yada, yada. So, all in all, it's one of those things where you could easily say I told you so, but I'm not going to do that right now. Again, the Sixers have been playing some incredible ball. Again, like I said, in that Sacramento game, they were without Joel Embiid and James Harden, their top two scorers. But again, the young kid in his role, filling in to pick up some scoring, picked it up very, very well. I think he had like 32 or 35 that night. And Tobias Harris, okay, cuz, thanks, man. Appreciate you for checking in. Appreciate you always. Tobias Harris has been playing well, too. And my thing with Tobias Harris, I don't think he's a bad player. I just think more times than not, he's not consistently consistent enough for me. But most recently, he's been playing pretty good. So I'm going to give him some credit. He's been playing pretty good, and I appreciate that. It's a good thing for us as a Sixers fans, and it's a good thing for them as an organization. So, I think, we're off till I think like Wednesday. We're off against Wednesday, till Wednesday. And I think this was maybe part of the reason for that rest with Harden and Embiid. Because right now we can catch them with just Kyrie. Because I don't think KD will be back on Wednesday. So we played on Wednesday at the Wells Fargo Center. So you can get down there and make a lot of noise. Give Ben Simmons, you know what, if he decides to play, if he shows up and plays, whatever. But they basically got Kyrie, and we can get him, and we'll be rested, so we can get that win, and get a second win against them. So, it is what it is. Like they were here earlier in the season. I was at the game earlier in the season, and we got that win, so we can get another win, and then that way I think we can pretty much get a grasp on, get an upper hand on them for the season series, and it is what it is. But, that's that. Like I said, the Sixers, are doing better things. Like I say, in my opinion, DeAnthony Melton was arguably the best pickup in the offseason. With the increasing minutes now for Montrez, he's been performing a lot better since he's now knowing that he's going to get these consistent minutes, which I think is a great thing for him. I think Doc will begin to roll Paul Reed in every now and again when he needs a spark. EA Fish, my guy, Sean, what's going on, homie? I think Doc will be able to now try and figure out where he can throw Paul Reed in, because Paul Reed will give you sparks when he can. The other night he had like 14 rebounds. Led the team, I don't know, 14, but he led the team in rebounds. And he had quite a few offensive rebounds. So he brings that energy. It's just a matter of finding the right spots to insert him in games and in the lineups and things of that nature. But I think Doc is starting to figure that out now. And it's coming to him. So, that's the Sixers start, like I said. Second in the conference right now, second in the division. Can only get better. 30-16 record. And, people talk trade deadlines coming up. I don't think the Sixers will be making any trades unless it's something, an offer that they can't refuse. Because of their issues with the luxury tax, I think they'll be more leaning to the buyout market where they can do some things and stay right where they are on the threshold of that tax penalty. But, we'll see what happens. Like I said, if a deal comes across that, immediately increases their chances of making the team better, I think it would be well thought out before it gets done. But I think it could possibly get done. But I don't think anything major is going to get done by the trade deadline. So, let's see. Who was this? Lee Colbert Nail Creations. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you. I'm gonna wave at you anyway. Appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in. It's crazy how the Sixers have increased. I'm writing some stuff down here on my notes, man, so I can acknowledge people as I do all the time when I get off air and things of that nature. But yeah, Sixers are doing pretty good. Like I said, it's only going to get better, in my opinion. I think they may keep Tyrese Maxey where he is coming off the bench for a little bit, and let him just go out there and play basketball. He looks like he's at his best when he's doing that. And the thing is, he mentioned in the press conference, he said Doc kind of stresses to his guys. He said, it's not important. It's not important if you're in the starting lineup. It's a little bit more important if you're in that closing lineup. And Tyrese Maxey has found himself in that closing lineup a lot. Even though he's coming off the bench, he's still playing starter minutes. So he's getting the tick, as we like to say, and he's doing this thing with it. So I'm sure all of you have heard about the issue with Ed Reed and him being pegged as the head coach, Bethune-Cookman. He blew that. He went the wrong route in his complaint. He complained about the school not being able to ratify his contract and pay him. But he kind of went public with it when he shouldn't have. I think he went on like Twitter or something. And then it ended their relationship. It didn't end pretty. And then after that, I saw an article with Tamika Reed and Eddie George, and they talked about being a coach at an HBCU. And here lately we've seen in the two, I would say, predominant sports, basketball and football, where we've had NBA greats, NBA legends, NFL greats, NBA, NFL greats become coaches in the HBCUs. And what Tamika Reed and Eddie George was saying is that people that get these opportunities don't really understand that it's even tougher there, because in that community, it's like a long-lasting community that carries over or carries in from when these young men and women were young, where a lot of them come from somewhat broken homes or, financially strapped homes, where in their youth, some of their coaches were like their father figures, uncle figures, disciplinarians. They even in the article, there were points when Eddie George even said, like, in some of these situations, the parents would be like, yo, you want to act up in school? Don't make me call your coach. So that carries in to this HBCU thing, where you're not only as a great in your respective sport, football or basketball, you're now getting looked at again as that uncle, that father figure, that mother figure, that aunt, that uncle, that big brother or whoever, and you have to uphold this, and it's a lot heavier. That weight is a lot heavier there than it is at a mainstream school. And that's just kind of like what they wanted to put out there and let everybody know. And Deion Sanders said he had the support of Ed Reed. And Ed Reed's issue was like with the conditions of the school, the gym, the facilities and all of that. And, everybody's not Deion Sanders. It's going to be a long-lasting story of what Deion did at Jackson State. But again, everybody's not Deion Sanders. Everybody's not Coach Prime. Everybody has to find their own niche, their own thing. And you see what it has done for Deion. And we went through that whole dialogue, wherever. And I still feel like, in my opinion, Deion is where a lot of us want him to be, where he can open the doors for some more athletes to go to some of these bigger schools and for some coaches to get higher jobs at some of these other mainstream schools. But again, like they said, that HBCU coaching thing, they say it's a totally different world. And if you're not built for it, it's no need in going into it. And again, like I said, that situation with Ed Reed and Bethune-Cookman did not end very well. You can go to my page and check the story. You can Google it if you want, whatever. But more importantly, go to the page and check it. I posted it up there, so you can check it out and read the full story at your leisure. Finally, you also saw, and I also posted this, there was a young man, his name is Quan Proctor, who ironically announced on Twitter that he was entering the transfer portal. Also, ironically, the picture in his tweet had him wearing a Savannah State uniform, and he apparently never attended Savannah State and played on the football team. So people were asking, how did he enter the transfer portal? He cleared things up later after the story came out, and he said, and I quote, "I think it's best to clear the air. As most of you saw, I previously made a post stating that I am in the transfer portal. I can see how this could have been very misconstrued because of the picture I chose to post. First, I want to start by saying that my intentions were never meant to offend the program or anyone involved. Secondly, to make my intent clear, I just used the photo because it was the only actual college picture I had, and I did so to make known that my recruitment is open." End quote. He also went on to explain, and I quote again, "I had multiple great Division I opportunities, but unfortunately my parent, who is a single mother who works every day for her life to pay for my siblings and my future without struggling as she always has, and to make sure I am someone positive in life. Wouldn't be able to afford to send me to those programs. I entered the portal so that I can live my dreams and excel in academics and sports. Now that I have cleared the air, I'm ready. Let's be great. End quote. You know? So a lot of people say, all right, he ended it. He cleared up the quote, whatever. Things of that nature. But, it was just a funny story. And like he said, people immediately went to the actual picture and then were like, oh, dude, like, wait, you got this picture on you in the transfer portal. How are you going to transfer? You didn't even play there. You didn't even go there. Some of the coaches, got wind of it and caught it and whatnot. But, it is what it is. He cleared the air, so, we move on. Folks, going to give you some scores. I usually give you the scores in the beginning, but we're going to close out. We're going to give you some scores here. NBA yesterday. Pelicans, Heat. Heat take that game 196. The Raptors get up on the Knicks 125-116. The Clippers get by the Mavs 112-98. The Suns outlast the Grizzlies 112-110. The Nuggets fall to the Thunder 101-99. The Nets get by the Warriors 120-116. The Lakers get by the Blazers 121-112. NHL yesterday, Devils 2, Penguins 1. Blackhawks, Kings 2, Blackhawks 1. The Sharks get blanked by the Bruins 4-0. Flyers get beat by the Jets 5-3 at home. The Golden Knights fall to the Coyotes 4-1. In the NHL tonight, Panthers and Rangers, Islanders, Maple Leafs, Sabres, Stars, Blue Jackets, Flames. In the NBA tonight, Celtics, Magic, Bucks, Pistons, Hawks, Bulls, T-Wolves, Rockets, Hornets, Jazz, Spurs, Blazers, Grizzlies, Kings. Coming up Sunday on the weekend, Championship Sunday, 3 p.m., 49ers at Eagles, and then 6:30, Bengals at Chiefs in Arrowhead. Folks, thank you all for tuning in. Thank everyone that tuned in today. I definitely appreciate the support. Like I said, you know where I am. You see me live now at @sportsrap_D on Instagram, at Facebook, Sports Rap Podcast LLC is the group page there. Also at @sportsrap_D on Twitter. Folks, I need y'all to do me some solid, do me a favor. Y'all see my videos every morning. I need y'all to get over to YouTube. Make sure y'all subscribe to the channel, Sports Rap TV. Get over there and subscribe to that channel. Subscribe. Check out the videos. It's like 100 plus videos over there. Some old shows, some new stuff, some current stuff. Get over there, check out the videos. There's also some audio up there as well. Get over there, check out the videos. Click the thumbs up for the videos that you like. Hit that bell so you'll be notified when new content is up. Also, you can get the audio after today on Spreaker, iHeart, Spotify, most of your podcast outlets. And also, folks, coming soon, we got something else coming up for y'all. Now, I'm not going to tip too much. It's still in the works. But I also wanted to say, and I posted this question. You can go back and check it out if you will. If not, you can leave me comments under this video. I posed a question, and thinking about a collab with some folk, and I wanted to know how many people would come out to an on-location live broadcast for like an NBA watch. So we watch NBA games. We would do a live broadcast. You can get your 5 minutes of fame. Talk to us about your team, about the game that's on or whatever. Just hang out with us and talk some sports. A live broadcast in a setting where it would be like a watch party podcast on location thing. If you were interested, then look down below when I post a video, when I'm done, down below, you see me nodding down below. Add your comments. Let me know if you would be interested in that. We're trying to get a gauge on what we can do next and just expanding some things and broadening out the show. Again, appreciate everybody for tuning in. It is a rainy, cloudy, dreary, chilly Monday. Be safe out there. Watch the puddles. Watch the flooding. And as always, be great on purpose. I will see you all week on social media. Right back here next Monday. Heat 100 Radio. Peace, y'all. Thanks for tuning in, y'all. Have a great day.